Woohoo! I'm live. This is Math 60, Intermediate Algebra, and we will be factoring the same trinomial we factored before, but this time we're going to use what is known sometimes as the AC test method or the AC method, or sometimes just the formula. And to be honest, there are many, many different ways to do this factoring. I've seen something called the X method. I've seen a box method. There are so many different ways to factor trinomials. And as far as I can see, most of them either fall into the category of trial and error, which I just showed you, or something that looks like this. So basically, to follow this formula, and I will put I will scan this so you'll have it available to you. You need to be factoring a trinomial in the form of ax squared bx c. So you write down what a, b, and c are. So whatever they are. In this case, it would be 6, -19, and 10. Then what you're going to do is you're going to multiply the first and the last. So the a and the c, the 6 in this case and the 10. So we would get 60. And then you write down b, which in this case is -19. And then you have to think of two numbers that when you multiply them, you get that number, the AC, a times c. And when you add them, you get the b number. After you do this, you use these two numbers to split up that middle term, the b term. And you use factoring by grouping, which we talked about a couple sections ago. So I'm going to move this out of the way. You won't be able to see it, but I will scan it later. And let's go through the steps. So the steps are to write down A, which is 6, B, which in this case is -19, and C, which is 10. So those are the three coefficients, A, B, and C. And the first thing we do is we're going to multiply A times C, which in this case is 6 times 10, which is 60. And we need to think of two numbers which when multiplied together give us 60. And we'll go through a bunch of possibilities. We also, at some point, want to come up with two numbers which when added together give us -19. So down here, b is -19, and that has to be the sum of the two numbers. And I know you can't see that because I give myself a bunch of space, and that's going to be there. Because they have to add to -19, but multiply to +60, I know that they must both be negative, right? So let's think of two numbers that are negative. So I've got -1 and -60. Oops. Or -2 and -30. Or -3 and -20. Or -4 and -15, or -5 and -12. It helps if you're fast at factoring, that helps a lot. I think that's all of them, 6 and 10, and I don't think anything bigger than 6 goes in except for 10. 6, 7 doesn't, 8 doesn't, 9 doesn't, yeah. So let's add them together. So -1 plus -60 is -61. This is going to be the column for the sum. -61, -2 plus -30, -32. -3 plus -20 is -23. -4 plus -15 is -19. -5 plus -12 is -17. And -6 plus -10 is -16. Okay, so I multiplied, and then I came up with all the factors, and then I found the sum. And I know that from down here, my sum has to equal -19. So I look and I see, ooh, look at this. I've got this line, which gives me that 19. That is -4 and -15. So now this is what we do. We take the original. That's the original polynomial. That's the original trinomial. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spread it out. The 6x squared goes over to the left. In place of negative 19x, I'm going to put in, right from up here, negative 4 and negative 15, minus 4x minus 15x plus 10. Okay, so I have, here's the 10, and the 19 has split into two pieces. Then I use grouping. So 6x squared minus 4x, let's see, an x is common and a 2. So 2x times 3x minus 2. Okay, and here I have to start with a negative, and I see that there's a common factor of 5. So negative 5 times x, and notice if I factor out, ooh, it's not just x, it's 3x. Sorry about that. If I factor out a negative 5, I get 3x here, but if I factor out a negative 5, this becomes minus 2. Notice that minus there, it's a sneaky one. And then we cross our fingers, and it did work. The 3x minus 2 they do match. So I get 2x minus 5 times 3x minus 2. So now, if I'm honest, oh, you're going to get to see everything. If I open up, you can see there's my water and the box of chocolates it sits on, so it can get some good distance. So this whole process is actually pretty fast. It doesn't take that long. But the problem is that if you use this method, it will always work, and it works pretty easily. But I haven't seen students use it and get really fast. And one of the things you're going to need if you're going to calculus is you need to be able to factor trinomials pretty fast. So it's up to you. This method for a lot of people works better right now. But as you get closer to calculus, you might want to practice some trial and error. That's it. But you're allowed to use either of the methods or another method. If you look online, if you look on YouTube, factoring trinomials is a really common problem for folks. So, you're welcome to use any of the methods you find there. Woohoo. Okay, next up, we're going to talk about factoring other kinds of polynomials. Woohoo.